Hello everybody, this is the Wikstrand. When you get down to it, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is a bit of an odd duck when it comes to the Disney movies. Why am I saying that? Well, the fact is that this is a live action movie from Disney. It is free from children, or at least I don't think there was any children in it. They take their subject completely serious, and it is a G-rated movie. How many other movies can claim such a thing? Anyway, let's find out how good this movie is, shall we? This is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. The shipping industry have some problems. They have problem recruiting sailors for, the merchant ships and stuff like that. Why do they have that? Well, because ships are disappearing in the South Pacific, and it is rumored that there is a sea monster that, is dragging, these things down. And this is actually at this point threatening, the trade routes, and they need to do something about it. So we have this professor and his assistant, played by Peter Lorre, who accompanies one of these ships that is going to go out and search for the sea monster and kill it. On board on the ship, they also encounter a rough and ready sailor played by Kirk Douglas, who sings the song I Swear It on My Tattoo, who is a great song. Ailstorm, do a cover of it, please. Soon they encounter the monster, but it turns out that it is not actually a monster, maybe a man-made monster. It is a submarine, a futuristic, very technologically advanced submarine called the Nautilus. And, being the only survivor after the ship have, been sunken by the Nautilus, they found themselves to be a weird combination of prisoners and guests on board the Nautilus. And soon they meet the mysterious captain that drives this thing, Captain Nemo, played by James Mason. Captain Nemo is a pretty complex character because he absolutely hates mankind, and he has decided to, live under the sea and, just traveling around the world and, uncovering the unsolved mysteries of the deep. And he has, discovered many things, and he has acquired a lot of knowledges, but he doesn't want to share these knowledges with, the surface world, because he shuns the society. And in his opinion, all the discoveries that he has done and all the knowledge that he has, acquired over his journeys is just going to, be put to bad use, and it's going to be used for war and stuff like that. So what are they going to do here? Are they going to be able to stop him? What's his actual goal in this quest of his? What fantastic discoveries will they do, beneath the surface? And the professor and Nemo actually start forming a sort of an alliance after a while, even though, Kirk Douglas remains very anti-Nemo throughout the entire movie, and Peter Lorre falls somewhere in between. He has, the allegiance to his master, but he also recognizes that Captain Nemo might be dangerous, and will they stop him? And what is on that, mysterious island where Captain Nemo has its base, and what's going to happen there? And aren't those sequences, by the way, between Kirk Douglas and Inesme, the sea lion, quite adorable, actually? So, one thing that this movie has going on for itself, it is James Mason. He's one of my favorite actors of all time, and he has an uncanny talent of picking these fantastic roles where he can excel. He's like a Sam Neill on fucking steroids. He has a special gift of crafting very special and complex characters. Never, the valiant hero or the stern protagonist or anything like that, because Nemo is very fascinating as a character. He bounces, between, being an anti-hero, a tragic villain, a failed peace activist, and maybe a complete lunatic. We don't quite know where we're going with him, and that is the fascinating bit. Now, I should mention this, that I have not read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I've read a couple of Jules Verne's books, and I've liked almost all of them, but for some reason, I've never read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, so I don't know if this is an accurate adaptation or not. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is, by the way, a movie that holds up pretty well. Sometimes you can see that they're watching obvious stock footage and things like that, and some technical aspects of the movie isn't quite up to the standard of 2024, but for the most part, this is a very lavish, this is a very colorful, and this is a very spectacular adventure movie. There is a fantastic attention to details, and 127 minutes disappears fairly quickly, and you're entertained for the most of the whole thing. Now, I will say this, that one of the problems I do have with this movie is Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas, for some reason, has a problem playing interesting characters. He's sort of the anti-James Mason. He always picks this boring, stern protagonist that we're supposed to care about, but we very rarely care about him. A good example of this is, of course, Spartacus, even though I will say that he's absolutely fantastic in Paths of Glory. But Peter Lorre is, of course, very good, but James Mason steals every scene that he is in. Maybe this movie would have been even better if they would have focused more on Nemo as a character, his motivations, what he's going to do, and if his methods are, sound or unsound. I could have done with more sequences like that, rather than, these slow, plodding underwater sequences that very rarely work, and especially not in a 1950s movie. But this is an entertaining movie, that stuff is always happening and you're kind of curious where we're going with this, and the best thing about the entire movie, except for James Mason, is of course Nautilus itself. The sets are so amazing. When you're walking around there, it really feels like you're there. It really feels like, you are on this fantastic ship, and all the sequences, when we're walking around there, and it feels just so authentic, despite this being a very fictitious place. And the sequences on Papua New Guinea, they look absolute boss. So is this a movie that you should see? I think you should give this movie a chance, despite this movie being quite old, and a lot of people will probably find the movie quite plodding and a little bit unfocused at times. I find this movie to be very good, considering how old it is and the subject matter, and because it is made by Disney. This is one of these movies I do think could get a really good remake if they really made the effort to make this into a big fantastic adventure with compelling characters and a fantastic Captain Nemo. I would put a Guillermo del Toro or something like that in the director's chair, and then the magic would probably happen. I don't know if this is the best version of this story. I haven't seen any other iterations of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but as a spectacle it has to be the gold standard. I'm sure there is, miniseries or TV shows or, TV movies and stuff like that that has been made over the years, and they're probably pretty good, but I don't think they are as colorful, spectacular, and has this attention to detail as this movie has. This is a surprisingly great movie. Lucas, Lorre, and Mason are of course very, very good in this movie. And to be fair, Kirk Douglas is not bad in this movie. He's just not as interesting as the other three. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is a really, really good movie, and I give it 68 points. Could it have been better if we would have had, less giant squids and more fantastic sequences with Captain Nemo? Most definitely. But still, this is a very good movie that holds up surprisingly well. So I'll see you next time for, well, so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.